Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the wild, weird, and wacky world of the Word. Hey, what can be wilder and weirder than trying to read those Old Testament prophets? Oh man, it's craziness. Well, it's a bit of craziness this week when we were reading from Isaiah the 35th chapter. What's going on there? It's a beautiful chapter. I mean, some of the language in there is just strengthen the weak hands and make firm the feeble knees. Say to those who are of a fearful heart, be strong, do not fear. Here's your God. The eyes of the blind shall be opened and the ears of the deaf unstopped. How about the burning sand will become a pool and the thirsty ground springs of water? The ransomed of the Lord shall return and come to Zion with singing. Everlasting joy shall be upon their heads. I mean, a lot of good stuff in it, but after all, what about all the stuff that comes around it? Yeah, that's what gets kind of confusing because the prophet Isaiah, the book as we have it, was more or less put together and composed by three different prophets and their disciples, their students who would record their words. Verses 1 through 39 are one whole different prophet who's prophesying before the Assyrians really started beating up on Jerusalem. Then you have 40 through 55. Those chapters were prophecies given to people who had been carried off into exile in Babylon, not Assyria, but in Babylon. And then 56 through 66 are written to people who've been returned to their homeland in Jerusalem from exile in Babylon. You see, and it gets kind of goofy and crazy, and you start wondering, where am I and what am I talking about and what's happening? And to make things even worse, sometimes internally, just in those three groupings, things don't always go very smoothly. Like 35, chapter 35, that we read all these beautiful words, they're talking about the return from exile in Babylon. But that hasn't even happened yet. That's not until chapter 40. So why are we doing that in chapter 35? Well, it's a look ahead. It's a vision of what's going to be down the road. But wait a minute. Okay, well, let's look at chapter 34. What's 34 about? Oh, 34 is talking about God punishing the Edomites because the Edomites are pilfering Jerusalem that's been overrun by the Assyrians. Oh, Lord, this is what's going on here. Well, let's go to chapters 36 through 39 and see what's going on there. Wait a minute. This looks like a reading from Second Kings. Yeah, it's talking about the reign of Hezekiah, who it's still before the Assyrians kind of come on and start making a mess of Jerusalem. What is happening? It's enough to make you lose all your hair. And that's what happened. I was reading the book of Isaiah here, and that's what it looks like. But hey, don't worry about it, folks. It's all good stuff. It was put together over 400 years. Yeah, it took 400 years to pull all the stuff that these different prophets had spoken and finally put it all on one scroll. That's a long time to do all your editing and compiling and things like that. I don't think any professor would accept a term paper that took that long to put together. Not nowadays. So read it for what it's worth. Have a good commentary next to you, and realize the book of Isaiah is more like a quilt. You have different little pieces to it. It's patchwork here, there, and there, and it's just kind of all sewed together, sometimes in a rather haphazard way, but it's beautiful to look at, beautiful to read, and enlightening to our hearts and our souls. So, don't get frustrated. There's good stuff in there for all of us. God's blessings be with you.